Today we'll be discussing about flood mitigation and disaster preparedness. And for telecommunications, Maxis has been working with agency, local authorities and communities for years to prepare for natural disaster. And currently we're going to take a look on their ongoing efforts and the role of telecommunications in disaster response and how they support local communities. And for that, I welcome you, our guest, Chief Network Officer Maxis, Abdul Karim Fakir Ali. I want to say thank you very much, Chief Karim, for joining me. Firstly, we know that floods often disrupt infrastructure significantly. Maybe you can share with us what are the significant challenges that Maxis have faced in keeping its network operational, especially in remote or deeply affected areas.
Thank you, Anida. First and foremost, welcome to one of the 11,000 base transceiver station that what we have covering our service in Malaysia. And talking about the challenges that as a telco facing in maintaining the services, particularly in the effect of rain and of course the flood situation. Definitely, this is not the only unique about Maxis. The other telecommunication providers in Malaysia also having the same challenges, particularly in maintaining their services, likewise in Maxis. First and foremost, one of the key elements that I would say exposing a challenge, it is the power availability for the station, because all of our base transceiver station is powered by electricity. So you just imagine without the power, whenever that power cut off, will then may not be able to run continuously the operating of the station. But of course, you can always install battery backup. But then battery backup also usually will last between 2 to 4 hours. And beyond that, for the prolonged power interruption, the sites will be affected. So that is the first and foremost, I would say largely about 70 to 80% of the scenarios whereby the power interruption to a certain extent giving the impact to the power or even running of the station. Second is also in most of the cases, also the sites for the technician or the field engineer to visit the sites, having some challenges to visit the site because of the road access and got flooded. And at times, the normal even 4x4 vehicle also may not be able to reach the site. Hence, for that reason, we are in Maxis. We usually work together with the agencies, in this case Bomba, and as well as local authority to also have a boat whereby to bring the equipment spare parts to the sites to replace it. And so I think those are the specific example. And of course, in relation to the power interruption, we also have what we call a portable generator set, so that like we could also power up the sites in the event there's power interruption from the commercial source.
Maybe you can share with us or provide some examples and overview of the specific flood-prone areas where the meeting is being held and how Maxis has responded to infrastructural vulnerability over there. Okay,
we are at the specific location whereby been hit by a flood. I think it's happened not once but happened twice. Happened in 2021 and happened also in 2022. So what happens like upon based on the past historical, when the water rise up till even 1.2 to 1.4 meter, the equipments got affected because of equipment failure as a result of the water seep through into the equipment compartment. And specifically for this particular sites, we have lift up the platform that house the equipment. And what happened? We completed the job back in March 2023. And apparently in November 2023, this particular area also hit by another flood event, and our equipment running and operate without any interruption because we have already raised the platform of the equipment by about 2 meters.
So maybe what some other upgrades have been made here to make sure a greater resilience for flood mitigation or management?
In Maxis, the service availability and right service level quality that we promise is always our topmost focus in Maxis. In order to ensure that like people still able to enjoy their service without any interruption, will then take any necessary, I would say, event and commitment to upgrade and to invest in order to safeguard of the network quality. For this specific site, we have raised the platform by 2 meters to avoid water reach to the level of the equipment. So I think as what I mentioned earlier, back in November 2023, it's proven we invested roughly about 60,000 ringgit, and it's worthwhile the investment in order to, I would say, strengthen the operability of the system.
I want to take a look a little bit deeper on the Maxis flood monitoring and early warning system. Maybe Karim can share with me what technologies and strategies are being employed for Maxis monitoring a system. Is it the system integrated with the national level, or is it an in-house development?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question, Ina. In Maxis, we have 24 hours by 7 days a week, meaning that like a system that running 365 days around the clock. We have a close remote monitoring capability in our station service center, operating center in Shah Alam, whereby all of the 11,000 sites of station that are running and operated by Maxis, we have full visibility of the operability of the station, meaning that any slight impact that affecting the, for example, the service, will then be triggered as an automated alarm, and will will definitely gonna dispatch our field operation people to restore the or even to address the equipment failure of that site. So that is particularly in terms of the Maxis internal system. We are also working together with MCMC. We are also working together with NADMA to get all the latest insight about the situation, climate, and as well as like usually NADMA will then notify us upfront on the forecast of the weather in the country and get ourselves prepared. For example, a couple of days ago, we were informed like in the west part of the peninsula, there will be expected, I would say, heavy rain, and we have gotten all our machineries ready in the event there's also a water flood affecting the sites or system, and our people are fully trained with not only a capability skill set, we also have the appropriate logistic in order for us to address and mitigate in the event the flood causing some network challenges to our service.
And maybe share with us what are some of the current limitations or gaps in the flood monitoring system, and what steps have been taken to address this?
Okay. To a certain extent, we do have some capability of forecasting, but of course history will always be the key most that what you could learn from the past. For this site specifically, we have gathered all the necessary historical information in order for us to strengthen, address what the foreseeable challenges in the upcoming. So that is the way of how we address that. We are also working together with the related agency to also observe the site condition. Along the way, sometimes the development close to the surrounding that affecting the drainage system is also being taken care of to ensure that, well, there's also higher exposure. So in Maxis, we are also running and having what we call a business continuity plan. That is one of the key elements for us to ensure that we are prepared ahead of time.
And maybe you can share with us what are some of the moral or lesson that we have learned from this infrastructure and development, and what are the critical lessons Maxis that have learned in terms of communication with customers and even network recovery in disaster moments like this?
Yeah, sure, Lina. I'm happy to share that. I think in Maxis we have learned a lot. I think we are also working together with agencies to name a few, NADMA, MCMC, and our fellow colleagues in the other service provider. Among those that what we learned, key most get ourselves prepared. We know that like every twice a year there will always be a raining season, being a monsoon or the other side is coming from the Sumatra side. So we always get ourselves prepared, and of course the historical learning from the past incident will help us to give us some guidance as well. So for that reason, we get ourselves prepared and to ensure identify the risk exposure for all our sites, so that like the necessary mitigation can be executed. And that's what we mentioned, we have done for these specific sites, and it's proven that like given the appropriate plan, focus, and mitigation and proactive in executing that, you'll start to see like the bare fruits of the effort that what you've made. and deliver the promise in terms of the service quality to all our customers in Malaysia.
And what are Maxis' immediate plans or action has been taken when there is, we can say, flood forecast? What is the resilient network, or we can say probably actions before, during, and even after flood?
Okay, so it's exactly, that's a very interesting question. As I said, like planning is the key most important. We plan that ahead of time. And we also do not really wait until a couple of months before the raining season and people start to plan for it. So our plan activity is like around the clock, and of course we start to identify or getting identified more and more, I would say, flood-prone area, given that the activities happen in the whole country. So it's one of the specific in terms of the plan activity. Commitment, investment, commitment in terms of the infrastructure upgrade. That is also an area that Maxis put extra focus, working together with the stakeholders. In this case, like we are not alone. We are also working the other service provider to help out in the event if they need help, because we are working together. Sometimes, like for example, Maxis have provision boat. Whenever our colleagues, peers need help on the transportation, we also render or even allow them to use our logistics to help out to bring up the sites. And of course, in terms of the supporting to the nation bill, for those of, I would say, the temporary settlement area, for residents that are affected, we also usually install, help them to ensure that the connectivity is always there. So we install the, we call Wi-Fi connection, so that a customer can still use the service and stay connected with their loved one, their family member, things like that. And last but not least, our commitment, whenever that site's affected, and of course that being said, like it's very minimal because we have made the necessary action, we also accelerate the process of restoring the sites. And we're working together with our partner, our vendor, to ensure that we restore the sites as soon as possible. And along the way, we are also providing, I would say, feedback to the related agencies, in this case, the power supply provider, on what are the probable areas that we could enhance, to strengthen the robustness of the specific location in this case, in order to overcome or minimize the exposure of natural disaster.
All right, again, I want to say thank you very much to Chief Network Officer of Maxis, Abdul Karim Fakir Ali. I want to say thank you very much. And definitely, disaster preparedness is about keeping the community safe and connected where it matters most. And we can see that Maxis and the effort of flood mitigation and their partnerships are the key. And we hope today's discussion have helped us understand the role of telecommunications in disaster response. And that's it for Niaga AWANI. I'm Nina Rosman. See you next time.